I didn't hear the acknowledgement that we're recording yet, so oh, there it is. Just on my other window. Look at
Yep,
that.
all
Okay.
recorded.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm you and you where are all of you located? This is
Most of
really
us
the
are in
first
Minnesota.
this is the first time I've ever done a webinar with you guys. So I'm totally new teaching your office. So I'm down in the Florida area. So I'm not familiar with where you guys are in Minnesota. So if you want to give me a couple of city names or zip codes,
If you guys want to unmute yourselves, you can let her know. We love to hear from you.
where are you guys at? Oop.
So 55330 is one. Elk
Elk
River.
River.
Sean, anybody else? Where are you from and what is your zip code?
All right.
You can just unmute yourselves. 54016. Thanks, Cece. Anybody else?
All right. Well, that'll give us some areas to take a look at.
Most of it
Uh,
is the Twin Cities area. 55376 is another one
Perfect.
from T Ward. I'm not sure who that is.
All right. And we hit the record, and we'll go ahead and get started, right? Because we're
Oh,
just a minute past, right?
okay. Cece says she's from Wisconsin. So someone
Okay.
from Wisconsin or Minnesota, I guess, would be probably the most likely on these.
On these. All right. Well, welcome to today's presentation, everyone. My name's Katie Gleboff. I'm a trainer with RPR. So I'm going to be here today bringing you the intro webinar. And we always start our RPR presentations with a PowerPoint, and then we'll get into the live demo portion. Just a little bit of background on what is RPR, or Realtors Property Resource. We are the nation's largest parcel-centric database for residential and commercial properties. So what we mean by parcel-centric is for every property across the US, we are able to identify the parcel by the tax ID number. And then with that, we can get all of that public record data that's associated to that property. So the owner information, the physical address, the tax billing address, with the mortgage info, the title info, property characteristics, taxes over time, right? Deed transfers over time. And we're able to build a property report for those commercial and residential properties. And then we partner with MLSs across the US. So for your local market in Minnesota or Wisconsin, where you participate with your multiple listing system, you will also see associated to those properties the current and historical MLS history that may go on with those parcels. We're built exclusively for real estate professionals. And if you're a member of NAR, we are dues funded, so you don't pay any additional fees to access this platform or utilize the benefits. And we don't provide any consumer access. And I always kind of say RPR is a one-way system. All the data comes in to RPR from our data providers and our data partners, but we don't send anything out of RPR. So we don't have a consumer website where members of the public can search for properties. We don't have a consumer app. We do have a mobile app available, but it's for agents only. So our platform is really for agents to go in and research property information, market information, school information, demographic data, property value data, and then you can package that information together for buyers or sellers, or you can use it for marketing and social media content. But the only one that ever pushes information out of RPR are the agents that use it. That's the only way consumers get information from the platform. Now, we have two ways that you can access RPR. We do have a website that you can go to, which is narrpr.com. Right from the website, if you don't know if you have an account, you can select the create new account. It's going to ask for your NAR member ID, and it's going to verify who you are. It's going to tell you if you created an account or not. If you haven't created an account, you set up your username as well as your password. It's free, so you don't need a credit card or anything. And then you create your user account. Now, some MLSs, and I don't know about yours in particular, they have a single sign-on. So if you're in the MLS system and on top of a property detail, you see this little RPR logo, you can click on it and it'll just authenticate you into your RPR account because you're in your MLS account. So you may have access to RPR that way as well. And then for agents that are on the go, we also have a mobile app that's available, and you can scan that QR code. It's going to open up your Google Play or your App Store. You'll be able to download the RPR app. It is behind a username and password, so when you first install it, you have to log into it. It's the same email address that you use for your general RPR desktop account, same password that you use. And then from there on your mobile device, you can set up facial recognition or however you normally log into the apps. And through RPR Mobile, it is location based. So wherever you're sitting, it opens up and it shows you all of the inventory that's on market around you. You also have access to off market public record properties as well. But you can run property searches, you can create CMAs, there's a mortgage calculator, there's an estimated equity calculator, you have all of your search tools, you can share through social media and text message. So it is a really cool, nice, user-friendly app. So if you're doing something a little more heavy research based, you can use the desktop, or maybe that's just the device that you're more comfortable on. But if you're an agent on the go, you can also use the mobile app. Now, a lot of people, or a lot of agents, I should say, that are coming in and they're using RPR the first time, a lot of questions that we get is, well, how is this different from my MLS? Or how is it different from this? Or do I have to use this product since I have access to RPR? Do I still have to use this product? And really, we are part of your core toolbox, right? So our goal at RPR is to make you the most efficient and effective realtor that you can be. We do that by trying to partner with as many of the NAR partners and bringing them into the platform. We also want to partner with MLSs, so you have not only the public record and the demographic data, but you have the MLS history as well, so you're not jumping back and forth between the two programs. We in no way replace your MLS. We're something that you would use in addition to your MLS system. And then we also partner with your brokerage because we want your brokerage recognition to follow through to your clients. Your clients don't need to know what RPR is. It's not a tool for them. Your clients need to know what your brokerage brand has available for them and what you have available for them. So we want to make sure we're partnering with your brokerage to get that brand in there. And then if your broker has those partners, if they have experts in mortgage and experts in title and experts in property management, that information is on or in RPR as well. And you really are the center of our transaction, and all of this together just helps you be more efficient, save time, hopefully save a little money too. So when we talk about data, RPR has a lot of it. Some of it you may never really want to use. Other things are going to be your go-to within the platform. We have everything from property information to tax history, to inventory, to points and places of interest, traffic data, demographic data, which can be population, housing, labor force. If schools are important in your area, we have school information. We have commercial tools as well. And again, it's really for you to go in and say, hey, I really like this tool and I can use it for this, and I'm going to use RPR to do that. Now, if you're coming in to the platform, we just like you to have a really clear picture of where we get all of the information in. So we use a data aggregator to get a lot of the public record information in, and that's generally the tax history, the mortgage history for a property, the appraisal information from the county property appraiser or assessor's office. We get distressed information from the local clerk of courts. All of that is pulled by a company called ICE, and then we bring it into RPR for that public record information. The listing data comes from MLSs and CIEs. We use Google for our mapping. Our demographic data is provided by the US Census information and ESRI. Flood information is provided by FEMA. School data is provided by niche. We have livability data that's provided by NAR's partnership with AARP. And then we have some other tools. If you are an agent and you work with investors and you want to know about profitability for a multifamily unit or an investment property, we have a third-party partner called Valuate, which will run a financial analysis. And we have a refined value tool in RPR as well, and the information for that is provided by Zonda. So lots of layers kind of going into the platform. Okay. And then we do have some additional resources that I want to point out, but these additional resources sometimes could be impacted by what your association uses or has partnerships with. So we do have a partnership with Rental Beast. We have Showing Time, if that's a showing platform that your association uses. If your brokerage or association has transactions by zip form, that's integrated. We have renovation estimates provided by SnapTimit, and then we have climate risk reports as well. Now, I have a question out there from Randy. Can RPR show clients all the online activity their house is getting when it's listed? We do not, because the active listing gets input into your MLS system, and then your MLS sends that into RPR. And then when you're in RPR, it stays there. Your MLS, and this is very general, your MLS is probably your primary syndication network. So it's going to be your MLS that distributes that listing to Zillow or AOL or Homes.com or Realtor.com. And we don't monitor the activity on those sites, okay? They probably go out to your brokerage site. Your brokerage may actually syndicate listings on your behalf as well. And we simply just don't have access to that data. So for the rest of the afternoon today, what we really want to do is just jump into RPR, navigate around the homepage, look at some listing information, look at different market trends for the area, create a report just to show you how you can customize and share reports, how to identify neighborhood and demographic data, and some of our mapping tools, and of course, where to get some additional learning opportunities. So as I transition to RPR, do I have any questions on what we're going to cover today? in our overview or what I covered in our PowerPoint?
Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a question too.
All
Guess not
right.
right.
Well, it's quiet out there. So I have already logged into RPR under just a demo account for your office. So when you're looking at my screen, your screen should look something very similar to this when you log into it. Now, right off the bat, when I logged in, this little pop-up opened up, and this next gen is talking about our reports. So earlier this year, we developed a new report process within RPR. So we were running our next gen reports in a beta mode and testing and working out all of the bugs. And we are really coming to the end of our testing period and we are coming out of beta. And our old report system will sunset and go away on November 4th. So this is really for kind of existing longtime users that don't want to change and they haven't used the next gen reports yet. We're just trying to remind everyone that, hey, these reports are going to go away November 4th and the next gen report process is what you're going to use. However, if you're fairly new to RPR and it's a new product for you, you've probably been creating next gen reports this whole time. So you can just close out of this window. I'm just going to dismiss this little updated terms of use for California agents. That doesn't apply to us. And then again, this is just a little tutorial on our next gen reports, but I'm going to go ahead and close out of that as well. So we're here now at our homepage. You should see your NRG logo on the upper left-hand side. That is the primary brand that clients will see when you create a report and email property information to them. Our main navigation bar is along the top here. We have all of our research and search tools, whether you're doing residential searches for properties, demographic data for neighborhoods, school information, or commercial searches. We also have all of the different reports that you can create, whether you're working with a buyer or seller, you're fine tuning a comparative market analysis, you want to create a, just sold, new listing, open house flyer. You can jump into that right from our reports. We also have a help section. We do have a support desk. Our support desk is located in Omaha, Nebraska. We also have a live chat, and we do have a very extensive training area that holds ebooks for the readers out there. We have printable guides. And this all depends on the type of learner you are. I have a tendency to do really good when I write things down and I have step-by-step guides. So I really like our printable guides. We have them for mobile, we have them for commercial, and we have them for residential. And if you get wind that in RPR, you guys have mailing labels that you can use if you want to create postcards to homeowners in an area, you get 2,000 mailing labels a month. This is a 2-page step-by-step guide on how to run a search, identify the addresses that you want to export, how to export them in either a CSV file or a PDF file, and how to choose filters to pick the physical or tax billing address, how to choose owner occupied or absentee, how to exclude listed properties, so on and so forth. So these are great little printable guides that you can use. But if you want video and you'd rather watch a 5 minute residential video or 2 minute residential video on how to utilize mailing labels, we have all of that available in here as well. And these are, again, short videos, anywhere from 2 minutes to, 10 minutes in length to teach you how to do that. Our email address is also listed there. And then as you start to use RPR and you run property searches and you look at properties and you maybe save searches and save properties, all of that goes into your file folder system of your work. Your listings are linked to you within RPR because we can associate them by your MLS participation. And the RPR desktop syncs with the RPR app. So this kind of file folder system gives you the ability to pull up properties that you've looked at on a different device or on a different computer. So all of that is available for you. And then on the far right hand side, you have this little coin that you can click on. It opens up a little dialog box, and in that dialog box is a link for your profile. And this is where you can come in and just customize your contact information a little bit. Most of it we're going to get from your association, but if you want to add your photo, you can come in, and from your desktop, I can go ahead and import my agent photo. I do have a logo here. This can be, I don't know if you guys work teams, but if you have a team photo, if you have a team logo, if you have an agent brand, you can import that as well. And where I live in Florida is a little coastal town close to Clearwater. You guys have probably all heard of Clearwater Beach. So this is just my little seashell-y design for coastal living. So I can have, when I send a property to a client, it's going to have my agent photo, it's going to have my brokerage brand, and it's also going to have my agent brand all embedded on the report. I also have a tagline, so I can come in and add my tagline, or your title. And then you have, again, phone numbers. This information really should populate from your association record. I don't have one, so this for me is blank, but I'm going to go ahead and just throw in my RPR info. Okay. And then you're linked to your MLS automatically. So you should see, I think are you Real Tracks up there? Is that your MLS? No? Let me see here. I'm not that familiar with I'm going to pick North Star just because I think I get my Christmas tree from North Star. Do you guys have a lot of Christmas tree farms up there? Just curious. So this should populate with your state, with your MLS, and then your MLS ID, and you should have a little green checkbox. If you happen to have any MLS overlap and you have to participate with more than one multiple listing system, this little add button will be available for you to click, and you can add that secondary MLS. If you want to add your license number so that appears on your reports, you can do that as well. You hit save, and that's going to go ahead and lock in all of your profile info, and then you can just go right back to your homepage. So do I have any questions on filling out your profile? We're going to jump into a property search. And your Kind of like your quick search bar is right here, front and center. So we have our toggle between residential and commercial. And then we have a location. And your location can be a specific address. It can be a street name if you want all of the properties on a street. It can be a city name. It can be a zip code. It can be a tax ID. It can be an MLS ID number. So you just type in the information, and I'm going to go ahead and type in a zip code that I got earlier, 55330. This is a zip in Elk River. So you're going to notice as soon as I type in the zip, I get a kind of like a drop down with suggested matches. There's a zip code in Elk River. And then across the US, we have a couple of addresses that match as well. We don't have any listing IDs and we don't have any tax IDs. So as soon as I click the zip code in the drop down, it's going to run the search based off of the RPR search defaults. And our search defaults include a type or status. Now we pull in both for sale properties from your MLS system and for lease properties from your MLS. And the leases are yellow. So I can click on this little yellow circle and see that it's a for lease property and what the lease amount is. Let's say I'm just looking for sale. I can deselect the for lease. And then we have active, these are your MLS statuses. So active, under contract or pending, sold, withdrawn, canceled, expired, but I just want active listings. And then our default is to include single family, condo, townhouse, attached, co-ops. We also have mobile, other, multifamily, lot, land, and farm or ranch. So you can pick the property style that you want. And I'm just going to click on a property and see some price ranges. All right, so I'm going to come in and say my price range is 275,000. Oops. 275,000 to, let's say, 600,000. And then you don't have to put in a price. You don't have to put in beds. You don't have to put in baths. And then we do have right here a more filters. And that just expands a window. And in that window, you'll see based off of the information we have 123 matches. So maybe they're looking for a property that is at least on a half acre. That takes us down to 23 right away. We do have living area. We have number of units. We also have a current distressed status. Now, a current distressed status means that either from the clerk of courts or from the multiple listing system, we are getting an indicator that the property is either a short sale, notice of default, intent to foreclose, Liz pendants, however it's categorized in your market area, that goes under pre-foreclosure. Then we have foreclosure, which is your notice of trustee sale, subject to auction, adjudication, and then we have our foreclosed, which means the property has now gone back to the lender, the bank, the REO. So you can include these or exclude them if you don't want to see them. And then we do have Down here on the lower right-hand side, keywords. So this is, they want a single story or a split level or a 2-car, a 3-car garage, a deck, a conservation lot. So these are all of those fantastic keywords. Now, you may have someone that, and I'm trying to think of something that's maybe relevant. Maybe they want a property and they want block construction. You can add block, right? Or brick or frame. And it's going to look for this particular keyword. And you can have multiple keywords. It works on an or basis. And then once you get your search set up, you can update your search and your matching properties will appear within your search results. Now we have 3 different views that you can look at in RPR, and the views are right under our magnifying glass to execute the search and just above the upper right-hand side of our map. So we have an icon here. This is our list view. You can sort your list view by any of the column headers. We also have a drop down. So if I wanted to see if there were any upcoming open houses, if I wanted to sort by recently updated, I have the ability to do that. You will see for your area, your MLS must have a coming soon status. And those are mapped to active. And if I click on the photo or the address, it's going to load the property and it'll say, hey, coming soon, 10-2. And then you have breadcrumbs here where you can go back to your search results. You're also going to see some of these properties have links that say multiple listings. And those multiple listings could indicate that the property is listed as a residential or a rental. Maybe it's listed as a single family and it's listed under vacant land at the same time, depending on what your rules or regulations from your MLS permit. You'll see properties will have these little down arrows for recent price changes. We also have little hearts on the edge of the property as well. And that allows you to save a property as a favorite. And that saved property goes into your My Work and into your saved properties folder. Then we also have a gallery view. And the gallery view is going to load the property. You can still save it as a favorite by clicking the heart. You get the summary of information. You can thumbnail through the property photos if you want to. You can still sort your properties through the drop down. And then we have a map view. And you'll see if I'm looking at a property and I save it as a favorite, it gets a little heart on there as well. Now within our map view, I do want to point out on the right-hand side of the map, you will see our map tools here. And the map tools allow you to zoom in and zoom out. We also have a view. Now, RPR will remember what you do as you start to use the system. I live in Florida, so I use a pretty standard road view because Florida is so flat. But you do have a satellite view. You have an aerial view that's going to overlay points and places of interest. You have your flat road view, and then you have a terrain view, which will show those elevation levels. The points and places of interest that come up on the map here, all this info is really from Google because we use Google for our mapping tools. Now, if you're running a property search and you have someone that is looking in an area And maybe they're telling you, well, we want to be in Elk River, but we really want to be on the north side of Elk River, north of State Road 10, or whatever this road is that cuts through here. So as part of our mapping tools, we do have our draw icon, and this allows you to draw a box shape, a polygon, a radius, or a freehand search. And this is probably very similar to what you're familiar with in map searching tools, where I can kind of come in and drag along our area. You can go outside of your boundary, but I can come in and then just search within this location for those property matches. Now, we also have in here driving tools. And the driving tools will allow you to search by distance. This is pretty standard. If you know someone that maybe they are, and I'm going to, wow, you guys have a lot of golf clubs up there. Let's say I'm working with someone and they're a golf pro, right? And they work over here at the Daytona Golf Club, and they want to be within, 5 miles of the golf course. We can do 1, 3, 5, 10 miles out. It's going to set that kind of radius search, and you can then search within that market area. Now, under driving, we also have a travel time. Now, whether you utilize the distance or travel time, if you can find the location on the map, you can drag and drop that pin. But if it's like a place of employment, or they want to be close to a family, friend, relative, you can just type the address into the box and it's going to drop the pin to that location, and you can run your search out from there. But if I come in and say, hey, I want to be close to the golf club and I really want to be able to get here within like a 5-minute commute time. And I want to be able to drive at 9 a.m. or maybe if you want a heavier traffic time, you can do 4 p.m. 4 p.m. on Friday is probably the busiest time. And I want to be within a 5-minute journey. You can hit that next, and it's going to route that very limited traffic flow. And if I extend this out 10 minutes, it's then going to expand that market area where I can come back and say, hey, I want to search within this boundary. So you do have the ability to run some really cool searches within the area. And I'm going to go back to the driving, and I'm going to do distance, and just because I saw a little red dot on the map. So I'm going to search that area again. Now, when you look within the map here, you will see some properties say news, some properties say coming soon. They're all blue circles because we're looking for active properties. But this little red dot, this is a foreclosure property. So if we wanted to do a little more research on this, we can. If you ever have questions about the property indicators on the map, to the bottom of our search tools is a little legend, and you can pop up that legend and see what all those property indicators mean. All right, so we did the driving tools. We also have, just below driving, these are our points and places of interest. So maybe they want to be close to the golf club, but they also want to know where daycare centers are nearby. So I can scroll through all of these points and places of interest, And I can come in here and find, I know in here are daycare centers. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and then you will see these little tiny black dots pop up onto the map. And you can click on the map, you'll get the details of the point or place of interest, and then you can search within those areas as well. And if you actually zoom in to the locations, if I zoom in a little bit, those they turn into little icons. So like the daycare centers are little blue babies. All of them have their own little icon depending on what it is. But we have those points and places of interest. And then what is how when it comes to schools, what's the temperament with that in your market area? Is that a common question for clients to ask about school data, rating and reviews, search within school districts or attendance zones, or is that kind of a non-practice in your market?
I think it's kind of a point that a lot of people want to keep their kids in the same school district.
Okay.
So a lot of times we do searches based on that. So I was
You,
going to say I've experienced it a lot, but a lot of times it's just pushed by data providers to that. That's an option, you
okay.
know,
So
but it's definitely a reality.
yes, it's very, where I'm from in Florida, it is very popular, and our county is the district. So they do attendant zones. They want their kid in Palm Harbor University High School, and they will rent or they will buy in that area to get their kid into that school. But some other places, depending on where you are, that's for the consumer to find out on their own. Now, we do have two different school searches in RPR. You can do this, the one over here in the map tools. This is what I call the all school search. It is public, it is private, it is charter. You can break it down by elementary, middle, and high if you want to, but this will actually plot the schools onto the map. And if it is a public school, it will filter out, if you kind of see behind it, it will do this attendance school zone. If it is a charter or a private school, it will give you like a radius, and then you can search within that area. You can also print out information on the school, or you can just read information about the school if you click on the school name. So that is one of the school searches. We also have schools available under our residential boundaries. So if you look to the upper left-hand side of my map, there is a drop down that says show geographies. And what I really like about the geographies is that you can search multiple boundaries this way. So if there were 3 or 4 zip codes I wanted to look in, or a couple of different neighborhoods that I wanted to look in, I can come in and layer the boundaries. So we do have school districts, and you'll see those orange lines pop up onto the map. And I can click into the Anoka Hennepin Public School District, and then I can search within that school district. And then if I wanted to look within school attendance zones, these are public only. I can come in and say, well, let me see what the elementary school attendance zones are within this area. And then if I wanted to click on a couple of different schools within this attendance area, I can search those school zones. Okay. So that's our show geographies, and you can pick those multiple boundaries. Now, if I had someone that wanted to be in Ramsey Elementary School or Andover Elementary School, and this was their search criteria, and I wanted to save this as a search, I can click this little heart, and this is the Smith family, single family home search. And then that's going to go into my work and into my save searches. So you do have that show geographies as well. And then if you are in an area that is along a riverfront, we do have, back to our map tools, data layers. And the data layers are going to show some heat maps for residential property indicators. So if I'm new to this area, if I wanted to see the breakdown in property values, I can kind of come in and see these deeper colors as we get into the purples. So those are the higher valued areas. And as we get into the light yellows, those that they cool off and you get to the lower valued areas. And it's all here on that zoom. But we also have our flood zones. And this is FEMA's flood map. So that gets updated as FEMA updates those maps. Now, FEMA may update their flood maps every year, but that doesn't mean every area is going to have an updated flood map. They'll just research their floodplains and they may say, hey, this is still good. We may not update this map until FEMA says, hey, for this area, we do have a new floodplain with a new flood map. And then you'll see those indicators on here. All right. So any questions on our map layers? I'm going to go ahead and click. We have this new property. This is that foreclosure. I'm going to go ahead and save it as a favorite, and then I'm going to click in and view the full details of the property. Just to kind of see what we have. We have property information. So this is the property address along the top. And then you will see we have this blue bar, and this is all of the info we have, not only for the property, but for the market that the property is in. So we do have, for property information, this is where we have the street view and the satellite view. This is where MLS photos would be as well. We do see that it's a foreclosure, a notice of foreclosure sale, and it's a new property as of September 24th. We do have the list price. We get the beds, the baths, the square footage, and then we have an RVM. And the RVM on a property, and these can be different depending on what you're looking at. An RVM means RPR is looking at public record sales and MLS sales to determine an estimated value for this property, very similar to a Zestimate, right? So we're coming in saying, hey, based off of what we can find, we're guessing the value for this property to be around $376,000. We last analyzed sales on 9/27. We have a range because if this property is in foreclosure, if it needs a little work and it's in a little bit of a disrepair, it may be to the lower end of the range. We have a month over month and a year over year. And then under this view details button, you can actually see the subject property. And you can get a sampling of properties that were used to determine that property's value. This is all automated. You can't pick and choose. Once you start going in saying, well, that's not a comp and that's not a comp, then you need to close out of this and just run into the platform and do a CMA where this is your subject property. You're going to run a search for comparables. You're going to hand pick those comparable properties, and you're going to set your pricing based off of that. Okay. So that's what our RVM value is. We get little basic facts for the property. Previous sales information. We have the public marketing remarks. And then once you start scrolling through the property facts, you're going to see we have a column for public record facts. Those come in from the property appraiser. And then we have listing record facts. Right? We are going to have the interior features and the exterior features. We're going to have the legal description for the property. We have the school information for the property. We're going to have owner facts. We have current listing history. We have public record history. This includes deed information for the property, mortgage information for the property, tax information for the property, and then that distressed information. We have sales and financing activity over time and estimated property value growth over time. And you can hover over any point on these charts and graphs, and you're going to see what the value was at that point. Okay. Now, of course, as I scroll up, we are looking at this property. We will see the listing details. We will see the listing agent details. And we have a map of the property. But if I wanted to really quick just email this to a client and say, hey, maybe it's worth taking a look at if you want a little bit of a fixer-upper, I can go to the upper right-hand side where it says Create Report. And I'm going to choose a buyer template. And I'm just going to hit Continue. And it's going to go ahead and load. We have a preview of what the report is going to look like. We can scroll through it to preview it. And if there's anything that we want to take out of the report, we can come over here and customize it. So I do have a property summary, which is going to have the map. I can click to have it populate. It has the list price and the RVM value. I have property information. If I wanted to include additional data, I can include additional info. I have market trends. If I wanted to take the market trends out, I can eliminate it from the report. If I wanted to take neighborhood demographic data, this is stuff like population growth, density, median home age, the percentage of rent versus own, I can take all of that out. If I wanted to throw in school information, I could put that in, if it's important. But really, you have the ability to come in and trim this down to what you want. It's a little 5-page report. And then I can just come in, and at the top, I have a share. I can go to email. I can enter in the email address. I can type in my client's name. I can type in my call to action. And then I can go ahead, view a sample email, and just send it to me with a carbon copy. Send it to my client with a carbon copy to me. So you do have the ability to email property information out. You can share to social. And if you wanted to share something to social, maybe you have a featured listing that you want to put onto a website, or you want to put it onto a different social site, or you wanted to embed it into an email. All you would do is say, hey, I want to copy the link to this report and then you can pretty much paste that link wherever you want. It does become a dynamic link. So if this was a featured listing for a week on my website, or maybe it was a month on my website, and I went in and changed the price, that would be reflected on the report. Okay. So it does push updates through the reporting info. But that's what they're going to see when they get the report. Okay. Now we do have up here some other tools really quickly. We do have the map and location. This is going to give you a snapshot of the property. All of these gray houses, these are those gray squares. Those are the neighboring homes and what their value is and their property characteristics. If it's something that's blue, this is a recently sold property. Okay. If it's active, it's going to be a blue circle. So you can drag and pan and move the map around. You have access to all of the map tools. If we're looking at a particular property, we can also see what's going on around the market, which is the zip code that the property is located in. And because our property is a single family home, it's looking at single family homes within our market trends. And you can preview what's going on with the inventory in that market and with comps in that market. We do have pricing tools if you wanted to refine the value for the property. So let's say the property has, just over 2,000 square feet. It's not 1,000. That's going to jump up that property value, right? And this is just for example purpose. But if they did a home improvement, if it needs a new roof, or if you just want to come in and say, man, this place needs some curb appeal, it needs some love, and it's going to need a little elbow work, you can come in and say, hey, this property is going to be on the lower end of the value spectrum because it's in a little disrepair. You also have the ability to comp it out with a CMA. So we do have that pricing tool available within RPR.
That seems kind of unique, the ability to easily adjust right there. I think one of the things I'm
under
trying
the
to,
refine value.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. I'm trying to look at this, and I don't know how long this tool's been out there because our MLSs have come a long way.
Yes.
Always have to supplement stuff with different third-party providers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that was the original plan of RPR or something, to dress up our brand and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out where I know you deal with every MLS, so you don't have time to decipher, if North Star has different features than RPR versus
Right.
this track or something.
Right.
I'm just wondering, I'm trying to figure out where if Brian's still on this call, he was pushing me to get this branded because he likes these reports and he's very professional.
Mm-hmm.
He may have dipped off the call. I don't think I see his name anymore, but I'm kind of wondering if anybody sees anything, or, because it's almost like doubling up with the same search we've been using in our MLS, right? It's like, how many platforms did somebody learn?
Right. Well, that's just this like a property search. Now, if
Yeah.
we were looking at the other point, and I found a property address, and I'm just going to pull it up just so you guys can kind of get a view. And it's actually View Lane. This is what we will call a public record parcel. So this is an unlisted property. The last time it sold was in 1977. So there's probably no record of this in your MLS ever. Now, your MLS may have a public record system behind it, but this shows you still have your property information. You still have your mapping tools. you can still get an estimated value for the property and see the range. You can comp it out, you can refine the value, you can determine equity. You have all of the public record property facts, interior, exterior, school information, owner information, deed info, mortgage info, tax info over time. So all of those layers still apply to off-market properties if you're doing research, if you're looking at local value trends, and you're pricing it out. Now, we do have some other tools, and normally we have classes on all of this stuff. But you can go into our research. We do have a property search, we have a map search, but we also have residential market trends where I can just go into the market, and this is Hudson, Wisconsin, and I can see for this area, for all properties, I can break it down into single family or condo if I want. I can see the market type, the inventory, the median days, and I can grab any of these metrics. Right? If I wanted to look at the sold data and talk about how strong your list to sold price still is in this market, I can grab this graphic and post it onto a website. I can post it onto a postcard. I can put it into an email. I can post it to social media. We also have at the top here a script writer tool where I can come in and say, hey, I want to create a video. I want to create an article or a blog post. I want to create a social media post. And I want this to be engaging, and I want to direct this information towards luxury home sellers in an area. So especially if you're in like a big luxury home area, you can come in and create script for a video or for an article, and it's going to draft your whole article based off of the monthly statistics that we've generated for the area. And I can just put this onto my website for my luxury home update for Hudson, Wisconsin. And you can do this for any area in any audience. So that makes it really nice. Another really nice tool, and this is really more towards prospecting, I would think. And we'll use Hudson, Wisconsin as an example. You can go into our neighborhood search and say, hey, I want to know what's going on with all of the communities in this zip code. I want to know the neighborhood. I want to know the property value. I want to know the size of it. I want to know how old it is. I want to know the percentage of the age for the people that live in that community. I want to know the rent to own ratio for people in that community so I can help determine if this neighborhood is a good potential farm area for me to go in and find out, hey, 97% of the people own in this neighborhood. The people in this neighborhood are 39 years old. So this is probably a huge new construction, first-time homeowner neighborhood. So these people are going to stay in these homes for about 10 years and then they're going to look to sell. So you can use all of these layers to help you in your property search, and then you have the ability to view the listings in these neighborhoods and very easily pull the public record addresses as well, and then create mailing labels. And by the way, then you can go into your market trends and pull and have the system write you a whole letter. So there is a lot of functionality that we didn't even breach today, because this is the kind of, hey, get in, move around a little bit, look at some properties, play with a couple of things, and see what you can find. So hopefully we, can come back and teach you guys even more because there is a lot of cool stuff within the system. So do I have any questions?
There are just a couple more. It says, how about divorce and probate info searches?
We do not have divorce or probate. Now you would, under the deed info, if there was some sort of vesting change in the property, that would show. But we don't have a search for it.
Okay, and then what about sinkholes in Florida for a search?
We don't have a sinkhole search in Florida. I don't even know. That would really be more of like a sinkhole claim. And really, it's just knowledge of the area. Like being in Florida and being familiar, I just know the markets to stay away from, and that people are like, "Oh, I want to live there," and I'm like, "No, you don't." Sinkholes. So,
And then one other question regarding the mortgage information.
sure.
Is there anything on mortgage history, current info, liens, or judgments?
It would be updated in under that section. If it's a foreclosure, it will show that whole process. So when you're looking at a property, and you can go into your My Markets, and I'm going to add, just to show you guys. Come on, come on. You can do this by neighborhood name. You can do this by zip code. You can do it by city. I'm just going to throw a couple in there. And then what they'll do is they will appear right here on your home screen, and I can come in, and in Elk River, we do have a distressed property. So when you're looking at a property that is a pre-foreclosure, or if you want to see that deed info, when I scroll down and I'm looking at the deed, the mortgage, the tax, or the distressed, you'll see this little link here that says full page. And it will show every change within that distressed activity. So it all gets updated within this record. So that was, this property has actually been in distress twice.
Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Yep.
We're coming up over an hour here, so
Yeah,
we want
I'll
to
let you go.
this up, but we really appreciate you coming on, Katie, and teaching everything to all of these agents that jumped aboard today. And we will have this recorded and post it on the Facebook page so that if anybody wants to watch it again, they can, or share it with any of your colleagues. Maybe we'll have you back again after the first of the year and we can do more.
Yes, exactly. Well, you guys, thanks
All
for
right.
having me, and I hope you have a great day.
Yep. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
so much.
Thanks,
This was
Katie. Bye,
great.
everyone.
Yep. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. You did a great job, Katie.
Thank you.